Welcome back to LEGO Wars. Tonight we begin the 4th LEGO Wars International Special, and it promises to be the best one yet as our machines get one final chance to prove themselves before the main series. Last year it was Duck who finally put to bed its 2020 final losses in winning the special, but can he do what no other bot has achieved yet and defend a LEGO Wars crown? Let's see who they'll fight against tonight.
First, from the USA and defending international champion, Duck.
The US Fowl finally secured a title last year, and bar a freak result, they should be still in the running for the final episode.
From England and reigning LEGO Wars champion, Agrawalber.
The Series 3 champs come into this special fresh off a bronze in the recent All-Stars and will be a tough nut to crack once more.
From Australia, Annie.
The Undercutter has a new livery for this year, and following a strong win in the grudge match special, this could be the beginning of Annie's comeback story.
From England, Atlas.
The ex-international champs have never failed to make a top 4 in the specials, and after their second place in the All-Stars, the veterans look good to continue that trend.
From Ukraine, Block of Napalm.
The external bot returns with some improvements to the axe mechanism, but the remaining armour looks a little suspect.
From Australia, Chompy EX.
The veteran Aussie has returned to the grabbing mechanism that took them to back-to-back quarterfinals and will be aiming to repeat those performances tonight.
From Ireland, Deator.
The luck of the Irish has finally shined on Deator in recent times, but their weak armour continues to stand in the way of a deep run.
From the USA, Emulator.
Despite making their international debuts tonight, the Series 3 runners-up are going to be a favourite to go far in this competitive field.
From Malta, Hospitaler.
The Maltese bot has had a makeover in the off-season, and with some big chunky wheels they'll be aiming to bulldoze the opposition.
From Italy, Mastiff.
I have no opinions on this robot whatsoever, and I've certainly never needed therapy after how well it's performed in the arena. Honest.
From Scotland, Mr. Waffle.
The Scots were unlucky to fall in the second round last year, but with some refinements in the off-season they could go all the way.
From Canada, Nightmare.
Our representative from Battle Bricks is back after a top 8 run in last year's special, but with the toughest international field yet, it'll be tough to repeat that feat.
From Wales, Panic Attack.
Despite having a 3rd place to their international record, Panic Attack has a habit of crashing out early in these specials and will need to show they can still cut it in the bracket.
From the USA, Ripperoni.
The only robot making their overall debut tonight, Ripperoni hopes to catch the field off guard with its asymmetric design and weapon disc from past favourites Diddler.
From England, SWEEPY.
With a record of 1-3 in specials, SWEEPY won't be high on confidence tonight, but you can never underestimate the power of that devastating overhead bar.
From the USA, Wilbert.
The 3rd international rookie from the States tonight, Wilbert has shown some promise with their unusual design, but they'll need to stay away from the pit to have a chance. As with last year, we've split the special into 3 parts, so we'll begin with the left-hand side of the bracket and see how they'll line up. First up, it's the champs Duck beginning their title defence against the resurgent Deator, followed by the rank outsiders Block of Napalm against the wayward Wilbert. Rookies Ripperoni are next up against the stalwart Chompy EX before the Series 1 champs Panic Attack start their campaign against Hospitaler. Fight 5 of the night sees last year's surprise package Nightmare face the reskinned Annie before the grudge match of all time between SWEEPY and Mastiff. The action won't stop there as Agrawalber and Emulator will go toe-to-toe once more before we complete the action tonight with the 2nd international champs Atlas against Mr. Waffle. Let's pass over to Anderson and get on with the action.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
So here we are, the World Collision, the International Special is back. This is our 4th International Championship. A piece of Deator comes up immediately as the pit lowers, only a little bit though, I'm not too sure what's gone wrong there. Duck has now been rotated by Deator. Duck, of course, would be the favourites going into this battle, reigning international champions. They won it last time, they beat King Be Cute in the final, although they seem to have stopped. What has happened to the US machine here? Oh, it's okay, they've righted themselves. Good work there from Duck. Deator's lost an eye. Deator, of course, representing Ireland, so I don't think anybody really had any troubles knowing that fact. Duck's trying to get underneath them now, but failing to. Coming back again, pushing them back. Off comes the other eye. A little bit of an uppercut there, and they took off the other one of Deator's eyes. Great stuff. Deator's bucket scoop, not very effective lifter in this fight, but it is doing a good job at keeping Duck at bay. Duck's lifter has yet to do anything meaningful apart from prop a couple of armor panels, though it is winning on weapon effectiveness, I guess I could say. Remember, damage is no longer a criteria in the LEGO Wars judging system. Good push there by Dietor into the corner. Good aggression, good control as well. But Duck fighting back strong. Good battle is between these two machines. The US versus Ireland is not exactly the most setting the world on fire rivalry, is it? Let's be honest, but it is a battle nonetheless. Good push there by Dietor, pinning Duck against the arena sidewall and trying now maybe to get it out the arena. Look there, using the scoop as well to sort of latch them. Now, can Duck get away from there? Can Dietor drag Duck towards the pit? No, Duck manages to free itself and right itself very, very quickly. That was good work there from Duck, but Dietor keeping on the pressure! Oh, but Duck have gone into the pit, surely! Have they? Have they managed to get away? Yes, they have! I cannot believe it! Wow! What just happened? That's a first for LEGO Wars, a robot managing to escape the pit! Does it count, I wonder? Well, Cease hasn't been called, so I'm guessing that's allowed. The Dietor team will be very disappointed with that, I can tell you that much. They probably thought they had it there in the bag. That would have been a huge surprise. Duck now, maintaining that aggression, maintaining the control, pinning Dietor into the arena side wall. Dietor trying to get away, does so, but Duck pushing them back again. The arena spikes coming up now. I think they're getting more of an effect on Duck there, actually, than Dietor. This has been one hell of a fight. I'm not too sure how the judges will judge it. Off comes the top panel now of Duck. Will that be a decisive moment? That was Dietor's scoop that did that damage. Good driving, though, again by Duck, and good aggression. Pinning Dietor back in, carrying them around the arena now. Very, very close battle, this one. Very, very tight. I genuinely couldn't pick a winner of these guys at the moment. Dietor had Duck down the pit. That could be a decisive moment. We could be seeing the champions out early here. We've only got 2 seconds to go to the end of this battle.
6.
What an opening fight that was. We saw a little bit of everything there. And it goes to the judges. What a start to the International Championships. Duck certainly started the stronger. The International Champions proving why they were champs early on. But then Dietor did come back here, look. Pinning them against the arena side wall, carrying them away and even managed to latch onto them. They then used good driving and control to get Duck into the pit, but unfortunately for Dietor, the pit was malfunctioning, meaning Duck could escape the pit. That was a legal move, by the way, I've been told. And then Duck certainly finished off as an aggressor here, prying off more armor panels, but then again, Dietor did this to Duck as well. Very, very close.
And the winner, by unanimous decision, is Dietor. Not even a Houdini act from the pit could save our defending champs from crashing out in the first round, leaving this quadrant wide open. Let's see what chaos will happen next between Block of Napalm and Wilbert.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
A real face-off, this one. Get it? Because both robots have faces. Wilbert from the United States of America has that very scary undercutter spinner. It's wild, it's crazy, it wears a hat. I absolutely love it. Block of Napalm, meanwhile, known mainly for taking lots and lots of damage in the last series, but somehow managing to survive. They also beat Pain, don't forget, as well in its heat. One of the few robots to do so, which was a surprise. So I guess that means Block of Napalm is a champion-worthy robot. Who'd have thunk it? But that being said, Block of Napalm seems to have taken some serious damage here, and having just mentioned that it was unkillable last year, it doesn't seem to be that durable this time. I think one of the wheels has come off. The other one's come off as well. And that's it, they're done for. And that was a very quick, very easy, and very impressive win for Wilbert. Oh, what a shame for Block of Napalm. We didn't even really get to see it going. Wilbert get the win
6.
in a very decisive KO. What a shame that was for Block of Napalm. They started off on the aggressive, fair play to them using their front wedge to a good effect, but then it got ripped off, and once that happened, it was curtains for them, really. I think they were damaged and destroyed and immobilized before their wheels even got ripped off, look. The chassis was buckled, the front plate got ripped off, one wheel got taken off, and then just to add insult to injury, another one got taken off as well. Oh dear. Wilbert, though, very impressive. Watch out for these guys.
That destructive display from Wilbert confirms they're on the warpath tonight after their disappointments last year. Next up, it's the perennial quarter-finalist Chompy EX against the only rookies tonight, Ripperoni.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
Chompy will be the favourites for this one due to their experience, not only in international competitions, but in the main tournament as well, representing Australia, of course. Meanwhile, Ripperoni was a very effective machine in BattleBots, one of the few machines to do damage and beat Endgame, don't forget, as well. So, always something to look out for here. Going for the pit button there. Good tactics by the Ripperoni team from the US of A. The pit did work in this fight. Oh, Ripperoni! Well, they opened the pit and nearly threw themselves down. That wasn't exactly what you call great control, but they did manage to keep away from the pit, so fair play to him in that regard. Chompy have gotten rid of the 4-bar grabber for this series. Don't forget, they've gone back to their old design of a more traditional grab and push machine. It was much more effective in Series 2 because of that, and pushing Ripperoni towards the side wall now, not managing to stop that spinner though. Oh, one of the wheels is gone! How on earth did that happen? The arena spikes went up, lifted Chompy in the air, one of the wheels came off, now the other one's gone as well! Well, that's it, Ripperoni have already got the win! There's nothing Chompy can do now. I don't really know why a count hasn't started. I think it has. Oh, there we go, finally starting now. They're a little bit slow there with the button, I think. But that's it, I'm afraid, for Chompy. They're done for. There's no way they can come back now. Ripperoni trying to do more damage, but damaging itself in the process. Oops. Everything was going so well for Chompy in that battle as well. They were certainly the quicker machine, they were the more agile, had the more control, they were by far the more aggressive look, managing to get underneath Ripperoni, grab a hold of them a few times. Ripperoni even nearly pitted itself. Underneath them again, look, pushing them around. By far the more aggressive and controlled machine of the two, and then the wheel popped off. I'm not really too sure what happened there, but it left them open for another attack from Ripperoni, and that meant that the other wheel could come off as well.
The Spikes claim another scalp in the specials as Chompy crashes out. Ripperoni will move on to face the winner of our next bout between Panic Attack and Hospitaller.
Robot ears, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
So, two big brutes here, and a little bit of controversy here. I don't really think either of these two machines should be here. Hospitaller representing the country of Malta, if you can even call it a country, and Panic Attack representing some unknown land known as Wales. Never heard of it myself, but I'm sure it's lovely. Anyway, Hospitaller getting that big scoop underneath Panic Attack. Not really managing to lift him up into the air, though. You can see just how high that scoop can lift this series. Now, last year, Hospitaller was an impressive machine, but it did struggle a lot with manoeuvrability. But this new machine certainly seems a lot more manoeuvrable, and the pit button has been pressed by Panic Attack. The pit is open now, and we know that Panic Attack is very well known for getting a hold of robots, plucking them up into the air, and dumping them down the pit. Panic Attack pinning Hospitaller into the side wall now, trying to get those lifting forks underneath and doing so, and then they're going to attempt to do that tactic right now. Hospitaller is very manoeuvrable, but it could be moving out of the competition at this rate, although they did get away, and now driving into Panic Attack. It's very aggressive, it's very quick this series, isn't it, Hospitaller? The wheels are certainly bigger and chunkier as well. They've got a lot more grip now. They've definitely done a lot of hard work to make it better this time around, so fair play to them for that, because the driving's a little bit wonky though. What on earth was that? Driving straight into the side wall. Panic Attack slowly trying to catch up with them. Hospitaller the faster of these two machines. I think it's just the lighter, though I'm not 100% sure, I must be honest. Panic Attack turning now, trying to get those forks underneath. Hospitaller, they don't seem to have the lifting power in that scoop of theirs. They sort of get a little bit of a flick in, but then the robot bounces off and then it pings up. Oh, good pushing power though on Hospitaller. That was a good bit of driving there. Wait for Panic Attack's lifting forks to rise and then get underneath them and push them towards the pit. And I'm wondering now, can Panic Attack get away from this situation? They are in trouble here. The former LEGO Wars champions, the former LEGO Wars All-Stars champions are teetering on the verge of oblivion, and Hospitaller has them down the pit. What an upset! Hospitaller and Malta go through to the next round. I'm speechless. Well, no, I'm not actually speechless. I'll never be speechless. If I'm speechless, I probably won't be alive anymore. Panic Attack out already. That is a huge upset. They opened the pit, but they weren't able to capitalise on that despite trying their best efforts. Hospitaller, too quick, too powerful, too strong, able to get underneath them with a huge push here. And with Panic Attack on the edge of the pit, it only took one little nudge, and down went the former champs.
The teething issues on the new frame are showing for the Welshbot as they make it 3 out of 4 international specials ending in the first round. Next up, it's Nightmare against Annie.
Robot ears, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
So, an Australia versus Canada clash. Remember, Nightmare is definitely Canadian. You cannot forget that fact. And immediately causing some damage there to Annie. Are you okay? Representing Australia. Remember, the last one was representing Australia in this championship. Chompy already out. That was a huge surprise. One of a few of this tournament so far, I must be honest. And meanwhile, we're about to see another one here because Nightmare seems to be dead. That one little shot there from Annie, are you okay? Seems to have killed the Canadian machine. And this is an upset. We thought the Nightmare were going to go far in this International Championship. They performed pretty well last year in the main competition and in the Internationals. Now I think, oh! Oh dear, Annie, what are you doing? Annie is definitely not okay after that. But Annie is the only machine still mobile and have hit the pit release button. And Nightmare are about to be counted out and sent down into the gloom and doom of oblivion. Despite the fact that Annie has by far taken the most damage in this battle, it's Nightmare that have gone. What a surprise that is. Annie looking impressive this time. Remember last year when Annie kept falling on its face and flipping itself over? Yeah, those days seem to be over and done with because look at this. One shot here on Nightmare was all it took. And Annie, despite throwing themselves into Nightmare's spinner and causing themselves more damage than they really should have, dominated that battle and sent Nightmare down into the abyss.
A quick KO, but still an upset as Annie finally starts showing its potential to move on. Now everybody, it's my great displeasure to introduce the next fight as Sweepy must face Mastiff in a repeat of that fight from 2021. In said cursed fight, Sweepy utterly destroyed the Italian dog before the footage corrupted, leaving the decision to be made by yours truly that Sweepy was the winner. Maybe this time we'll be able to settle this score and my sanity once and for all.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1. Activate.
A definite grudge match here. Mastiff, renowned for defeating Sweepy, allegedly, in the grudge match special back in Series 2 of LEGO Wars, I believe. I don't know how many of you guys remember that. It was a Christmas special to wrap the year up. Already bits of Mastiff have gone all over the arena. The Italian flag remaining intact at the back. Sweepy, of course, representing England. One of two mascots of LEGO Wars. The other, of course, being reigning Grand Champions Agro Wobber. We'll be seeing them later on in this International Championships as well. The pit button has been pressed by Mastiff. We haven't seen much of that flipper. They don't seem to be driving as smoothly as usual, Mastiff. I wonder if they've taken damage early on here that's affected their driving ability. But look there at the damage. One half of the face has been ripped away. Part of the chassis has been split as well. Fair play, the flipper's lasted longer than it usually does. That's usually the first thing to go. A little bit of a flick from that flipper there, but that's all we really got. Mastiff now, can they move? Their wheels are spinning, but they're not going anywhere. I think they're beats on their own body parts, which, being honest, isn't a surprise. It almost always happens to them, doesn't it? Ah! But this is the damage that we can expect to see from Sweepy of England. Can Sweepy finally live up to their, I guess you could say, reputation? They're known for being a fun Nobot, but they're also known for being deadly and destructive when they need to be. Mastiff are done for here. There's no way on earth they're going to manage to survive this. Or are they? They're okay with just 2 seconds to spare. They suddenly spurt back into life. Off goes the flipper now, or at least the front of it. The flame flipper is still attached, actually, which is a surprise in itself. Like I said, that's normally the first thing to go. But they really have no hope here, or do they? I'm not too sure why they're coming back in on the attack now and getting underneath Sweepy. They can still come back and win this. Remember, in that fight they previously had that they allegedly won, they were getting absolutely cream crackered, and then out of nowhere came back and pushed Sweepy in the pit. Allegedly. I must, for my job's sake, stress that it was only allegedly. Sweepy, are they okay? Mastiff, are they okay? Sweepy is moving forwards. Mastiff seems to have beat himself once again. Oh my goodness me, another huge shot there from Sweepy. And I'll tell you what, as fun as it is seeing Mastiff get mullered, if Sweepy would have just left Mastiff alone earlier, they would have won this fight by now. You've got to argue that's terrible control on their part, managing to actually help their opponent out, and they've now got themselves stuck on some rubble. So I think they have just managed to get away. They've worked hard on those leg mechanisms for this series of LEGO Wars, for this year of LEGO Wars, so they don't get beat like they did last time around. Look at the damage to Mastiff. The back panel's loose, and it's... It falls apart. Oh dear, it's going to go to the judges somehow. No, I don't think it's going to take them much time to decide who's won this one. Look, look at Mastiff. Absolute carnage. Fair play to Mastiff. It kept going throughout the whole fight, though, being honest, it really should have lost earlier on. They were lucky that SWEEPY were being so kind to them. They were done for here. Look, beats on their own body parts as bits and pieces went flying, but SWEEPY got a little bit too close and freed them. And because of that, Mastiff managed to go through to the judges, so let's be real here. The damage alone surely has this one for SWEEPY.
And the winner, by unanimous decision, is... SWEEPY! Balance has finally been restored to the LEGO Wars multiverse as SWEEPY not only gets an international win at the third attempt, but also finally vanquishes Mastiff.
Take that, you stupid dog!
If only there was some respite for this announcer, but that looks unlikely as our next fight sees the Series 3 Grand Finalists Agro and Emulator do battle once more. The score is currently 1-1 between these two, with Emulator's YouTuber success and Wobber's crowning glory in the Grand Final. Both will be determined to win the decider.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
Oh, what a round one fight this should be. Agro, Wobber and Emulator. Agro for England, Emulator for the United States of America. These two machines, of course, fought in the grand final of Series 3 of the main competition of LEGO Wars last year. Agro came out on top after pitting Emulator. Emulator, though, has already done some damage to Agro. Its face has been removed, and Agro is now beached. Look, can they get away from that? Their own face is hindering them here and hindering them greatly, and has made them a sitting target for Emulator's spinner. This has not gone well for the reigning LEGO Wars champions at the moment. And Emulator bringing in that spinner and bringing it well. They will be looking to get revenge here for their loss in the grand final. It was a fantastic battle. Many people believed it was a fight fitting of a grand final. One of the best fights in the series, don't forget. And Emulator have now freed Agro. Maybe a little bit of respect there shown to their opponent. The pit button pressed, but it's not working. It's not working. Oh, yes, it has. It's finally worked. Thank goodness. For a minute there, I thought we were going to have the same problems we've had, well, every year, to be honest. But no, it did work. Thank goodness for that. Now, Agro desperate to get that pit open because they know that they can outpush Emulator and get them down the pit. Remember, that's how they won that grand final last time around. Emulator has come back, though. It has been redesigned. It has had minor tweaks. It may look very similar, but trust me, that machine has definitely been improved. And then again, so has Agro, in all fairness. Both these machines have been improved, and Agro Woman now... Oh! Nearly getting an action replay of its grand final win there against Emulator, but Emulator were able to turn out the way at the last second. That was good control there from the US machine. Agro trying to bring in the hammer, though it's not doing the damage that it normally does. Is Agro okay? Are they suffering from technical issues? I think they might be. For me, Emulator are on top at the moment. Agro definitely trying to come back with the aggression and the control. But it's hard to be aggressive when your robot keeps stopping and starting like this. It is a known thing to happen to Agro, but this whole stopping and starting malarkey. It's let them down in a few fights in the past. They seem to have got it all right last year, but it seems to have come back and to haunt them here. That hammer is not working as effectively as it did, and I'll be honest, this is a bit of a surprise to me. I thought this was going to be a lot closer and a lot more back and forth, but Emulator, in my opinion, are by far on top here. And Agro are really going to have to pull something out the bag to win this one. Their hammer hangs limp. They finally retract it, but it took a long time. Agro are barely crawling now, look. And Emulator having no problems running circles around them quite literally and bringing in that spinner. Agro cannot get their hammer into play. They cannot get around. They cannot use any evasive driving. They're barely mobile at this point. They have managed to be mobile long enough to last to a judge's decision. But I tell you what, Emulator, I think, have managed to get their revenge and get it very well. And we could be about to see yet another upset in this tournament. And a tournament of many of them, I must admit. Agro certainly started on the aggressive look, charging straight in, even though they did lose their face and get beached on it. They were able to come back. You look at the power and the speed of the hammer here on Agawaba. It certainly started alright for them. They nearly got Emulator down the pit as well, but despite all that aggression, Emulator certainly got in the more hits, had the more effective weapon, and by the end was by far the more aggressive and the more controlled. But there's barely life left in Agawaba at this point. The hammer was barely working, and I think Emulator have clinched this one on the judge's decision.
And the winner by unanimous decision is Emulator. Well done to Emulator for emphatically beating the Series 3 champs to move on. There's just one more fight tonight, and it's the third rematch in succession as the ex-international champs Atlas face the Braveheart Mr. Waffle. These two met in the round of 32 last year, where Atlas proved too much for the Scottish machine, but with improvements to the receivers, can the Waffle topple the former champs?
Robot ears, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
Yet another grudge match here, believe it or not. Mr. Waffle and Atlas, both these two machines fought in the round of 32 in Series 3 of LEGO Wars. Atlas was victorious in that confrontation. Off comes Mr. Waffle's face. Not that there's any surprise there whatsoever. That bar spinner, though, is not spinning up to the speeds we're used to seeing from it. Is there a problem with this machine representing Scotland in this tournament? There we go, that's a little bit better. The bacon bar spinner spinning up to speed now, but Atlas's front scoop is renowned for taking hits from spinners, although it did take a lot of damage against Waddle D2, or Waddle D Meta, sorry, I should say, in the All-Stars final not too long ago. I'm sure you guys remember that. It was a heck of a fight, wasn't it? Atlas has that grabbing arm as well on the front of the machine, a new addition to this series of LEGO Wars, though being honest, it hasn't really been that effective so far in this battle or in previous battles we've seen it in. I'm just wondering if it's more of a gimmick or not, to be honest. Atlas managing to get underneath Mr. Waffle there, but Mr. Waffle backing away. Mr. Waffle, for me, has been the more aggressive and the more controlled, and being honest, the more effective weapon so far as well. So Atlas will really have to do something here to come back into this one. Mr. Waffle has done more damage to itself, but that's customary at this point, I think. And thankfully, damage is not a criteria, so any damage done by a robot to itself will not count in favour of its opponent, which I think is very, very fair. Atlas using good driving control here, though, to sort of keep that bacon bar spinner at bay and trying to outmaneuver Mr. Waffle here. They're doing a good job of it, actually. They are coming back to this one slowly. Mr. Waffle can't really do much to Atlas. They've tried to get around the side several times, but Atlas is always able to turn around and stop them from reaching those exposed tracks. And they haven't managed to do any damage to the bucket scoop either. Mr. Waffle trying to hit the pit release, but I think its own body panel's getting in the way there. It finally got it down, but now being pinned into the wall by Atlas and being turned towards the pit, but managing to get away. Good little bit of a push there from Mr. Waffle. We don't really see it doing much pushing. It's usually about the spinner, and down the pit they go. Despite the pushing power, they couldn't outpush Atlas, and Atlas go through to the next round. Come on, England. I apologise for that patriotic bias just then. I've been told not to do it again. Anyway, the filthy Scotsman lost and England reigned supreme. Sure, Mr. Waffle did prove to be quite effective throughout, although it did do more damage to itself than its opponent, let's be real here. But Atlas used good driving control and good aggression to keep their bucket scoop facing Mr. Waffle at all times. Mr. Waffle, meanwhile, were unable to really get past that bucket scoop because of that, and one good push from Atlas sent the Waffle down into the toaster of doom.
And despite a spirited performance, it's Atlas who will march on once more. It's been a fantastic start to this special, with upsets galore as 3/4 of last year's tournament winners fell by the wayside. The star of the night though was surely Deatoy, who dominated the defending international champs to put them in a great place to go far. That's all tonight, but join us next week as 16 more machines will start their charge to the international crown. For now though, I've been your host David Smeg, and we'll see you in the next one.
Okay, take 1. Part 3.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Ready?
Yeah, ready.
Yeah, you're good.
It still works.
It works beautifully.